Hey everyone, this is Robert Cornelius, and today I'm going to try something new and exciting. So, I'm going to use the Infinite Texture panel, and you can set your randomness up to max, so when you hit this little reshuffle button, it will just generate a bunch of random things that are similar-ish to this, but, gradually getting more random the farther out from it you get. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit reshuffle, and then I'm going to pick an image from one of the four corners, and I'm going to do that 4 times and try and get 4 vastly different textures. And then I'm going to edit this portrait using those somehow. And I have to include all 4. And we'll just see how they inspire me and what I come up with. So let's start it off. So we'll hit reshuffle. Okay, and let's pick this bokeh image. So we will add that. Okay, we will reshuffle again. And then we will pick from one of the 4 corners. Let's go with this smoke texture. We'll add that. Okay, randomize again. Let's grab this interesting pattern because it's very different from the other 2 we've grabbed. So we'll add that. And then one more. See if we can get something super different from the other 3. Okay, and randomize one more time. What is this? Got this sort of galaxy looking thing, so we will add that. And now I am going to edit this picture, and I'm going to use those 4 textures. So I'm going to go ahead and go into super fast mode and edit for about an hour and see what I come up with. So we'll check back in at the end. All right, here we are at the end. We have arrived at Epic Space Portrait. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, just sort of seeing what happened going on this photo adventure. So this is where we started, and this is where we ended up. I think I'll just kind of go up through my layers. This is the one that really gave me a lot of trouble. I wasn't sure how to use it, and it's just kind of like a complicated, weird one. It looks like snowflakes. I didn't want to do a snow thing. So I ended up just blurring it so you get this kind of cross-hatchy, triangle-y background and use that as a base to build up on top of. And there's the smoke layer. Here's some of this like galaxy thing. And then there's my cutout, my subject. Did a bunch of digital painting on top on an overlay layer, a couple overlay layers. Did a hue saturation, getting the reds sort of knocked down and closer to this cyan look from the background. So even though I did blur the crap out of that snowflake background, I'm glad it kind of set the color tone for the whole image using those teals. And I ended up using it again at the end to kind of color grade and vignette the whole thing. So you'll see that. There's that same smoke layer on top. Just vignetting a bit with black. Here's that bokeh layer. I didn't use it a ton. It was a bit much. There was already so much going on with the galaxy textures that ended up on top of everything. But it was nice to just have some looking like there were bits way closer to camera, a little out of focus. So there's our galaxy bits. And then here's another time that I used the snowflakey texture and just brought it in on actually color dodge, which just sort of tealed up everything, and I brought it back on the eyes a bit more and just took it off the face a little bit so her skin wasn't getting too sort of dead looking. Another gradient. Then this is where I did a color balance, really leaning into that teal look. Some more vignetting. And this is when I kind of lightened up behind her hair and right here by the shoulder a little bit, just to kind of pop different areas with some lightness and some sharpening with the high pass filter. And then I brought that snowflake teal texture in again to give it a bit of vignette. And I did some distorts and blurs and twirls just to give it a different texture and feel and blurred it a bit. I also did a lens, what do they call that? center, blur gallery, tilt shift to blur kind of the back of her hood and then down here. And I did a duplicate and merge before I did that, so that just kind of like married everything together. So you have this hood is blurred the same as, you know, this background. It just kind of melds everything. So we have this stripe of sharpness through here. And then I turn that down some, so it's subtle, but it just kind of one of the many layers just blending all of these different elements together. Darkened around her face a little bit. Did some color dodge just to pop bits of blue in there. Darkened the background a little bit. Then I did a motion blur and turned that way down just to give it a little bit more action from the hair, and took it off the face. And couldn't help but to throw in some sci-fi lens flares that I snagged from the panel at the end there. It just felt like it needed that little extra oomph, and I do love a good lens flare. And just a couple more color balance layers, and that's it. So that is how I went from here, grabbed 4 different textures from the infinite texture palette, and created this new portrait.